Hi, welcome to the National Critics' Choice Online News, and we have Vinc with us this afternoon here in Singapore, and he's going to share with us more about his life, his perspective, and philosophy of art. Vinc, please tell us is it like for you as growing up as an artist before you were an artist, and what was your philosophy back then? In those days, like in the 60s or 70s?
Philosophy of art from in the 70s was I was a bit young to know what was it, but the only thing I can tell about it, I was already very attracted by every paintings I've seen in the house, because my parents had a lot of art collectors, and also due to my grandparents and grandparents, they were collectors too. They were also artists at the beginning as musicians before the Civil War, and then all these came out to me through my parents. When I was about 10 years old, in the house, I started to look at the paintings on the walls and making some kind of questioning about who is the painter behind these paintings, drawings, or sculpture. So it's how it really started to have that feeling for art when I was about 10, 12 years old.
And so, when you had the influence of art during that young age, and then when you start pursuing it, how did your parents react when you decide that you want to pursue art as your passion?
Well, they didn't say anything, because I would say between 14 to 20, you can always have dreams about your future job, but I never said I want to be an artist first. I was more attracted by being an architect and an archaeologist. That was my two passions at the time. So my parents were not too much worried about me getting in the real life, I would say, straight away after university. So yeah, they were wrong, in fact.
Now, how did you finance yourself to university? Because you went to the United States to actually pursue.
That was a big deal with my dad, that it was in 1981. I just said I want to go to UCLA, to California. That was the goal of my life at the time, was to be in Los Angeles, because as we talked before, I was very attracted in the 70s by the TV movies from America. So how it works is I just said to them that, look, I have the application done and they accept me university, so I have to go now. And that was a big shock at home, that I was going to be in California instead of being in London or any closer place from Switzerland, who is my native place.
And so, how do you overcome your language barrier and culturally as well? Because being French and European, it's not so easy to adapt the culture of learning English and speaking English here in the United States, and also the culture of it. Were there any issues with that?
Well, at the time, I would say 1981, when I moved out from Geneva to Los Angeles, of course, I had this barrier language. Straight away, when I was in Los Angeles, I kept the words in the street, just hear and try to answer also. But I think the barrier dropped very quickly, like 3-4 months later. It was like natural, even if my English is still very Frenchy. That was not a real problem, the language. Um, Maybe at the time also there were no internet, no um, iPhone, nothing like this. So the communication were mainly letters and books. So of course it was slower to learn English when I was in Europe before going to America. So yeah, it took some time anyway.
And so, what were your influence like? Because you lived during the era at that time where Reagan was around in the
Yes.
office in the United States.
Yes, yes.
Now, did your art inspiration were pretty much influenced from that time as well, and what you see around you, especially Andy Warhol was still around, and was it also part of the influence as well?
Yeah, well, as you said, still around, but in the 80s, I was really a student, and I really didn't know that I was going to be an artist, like starting paintings like a few years later. I was more attracted by the art of life, art of living in California, which is quite different from the whole state of America. And I learned from the ground, from the street, this California culture. And the California culture, in fact, is there are many things. At the time was the gym or the disco, the new music as Madonna and all those standards of today were just the beginning of this. And for me, the same with the art, the pop art. I was in there, but I was not that attracted in it. I've seen it, but I was not saying it's my thing. It was a global view, like a panoramic view of what's going on in America, or specifically in Los Angeles, in California, at the time. So it was an education, visual education, and meetings, public relation, all this together made me becoming an artist like 8 years later.
Now, do colors actually appeal to you? Because I saw that your art were found very bright and very luminous.
Yes.
And somehow there are people who mistaken you for Andy Warhol. And so, why is it that you chose that sort of particular, methods and creative genre?
Well, the method is I'm very visual, so that means if I'm doing what I'm doing today, is because when I learned to drive through the street in Los Angeles is so big, and I couldn't drive straight away on the freeway. I was a bit afraid about driving on the freeway, so I used to take the small street to go to university with the car, and to have like a repère, I mean some visual sign in the street, as I would say McDonald's sign, or a big billboard sign, or color sign in the street. So years later again, all those memories from Los Angeles that I learned day after day, they came back to me as snapshot, and they were the first step of my work, just having those colors on logo on the drawing on the paper, and saying, oh, that will be my kind of work, because it's kind of close also to the architecture, and the colors comes because of California is full of colors. It's never raining. No snow, no clouds, no. So it's bright. The colors are bright, soft, hard, fluorescent, and probably it's the same as my character. A lot of colors in my heart.
Do you have a favorite color or a set of colors that you prefer to use?
Well, the bright colors, I usually use a lot of blue, different kind of blue, very bright blues, um, red, orange, and also the black color is very helpful to me. Yes.
And so now, while you were staying in California, you actually experienced different political changes as well that happened around the world.
Yes.
Now, do those political changes that you saw and lived, and even maybe perhaps before the 1990s, did those political situations actually also influence the way you create your art pieces? Because we saw some of your art pieces, they have some messages somehow behind it. Is that true? Or was it intentional?
I think it was not intentional. In my paintings, I really don't paint any political signs, but it could be helped also by the period of the time when I was there. Of course, I remember Ronald Reagan on the TV news every night, and then it was a strong man. And then when Clinton was the next president, I think I followed less the political because Reagan was like a monument, one of the last monument of presidency of the United States for me. It was really strong. So no, I was not really influenced by the politics in my work. I think it's completely different. Of course, I could go in it, but it's not the matter of my work, actually.
Now, how did you find yourself being discovered as an artist? Who actually discovered your talent and then actually springboard your career as an artist for many years?
Well, I would say the beginning that I started drawing was when I was so young, that was even before I woke. Then I saw the first drawings when I was about 10 years old to my family as grandparents. We found the paper, the drawings when they died in a place with the price in the back of the drawings, of the price of the drawings, and I didn't remember that. Like 20 years later, I found those drawings back with like $1, $5. So that's a whole processing, and about being discovered by somebody. Yes, I paint first for myself. The first 2 years, like 88 to 1990, just as I would say somebody who wants to spend a bit of time with himself in front of a canvas. But I did a lot of paintings, and those paintings were only based on urban Los Angeles landscape. Then a friend of mine, a journalist in Switzerland, came to my place and saw those paintings. Just he discovered them, he didn't know I was painting, and said to me, "Look, you should show them. They're really nice. They're really professional." So, I don't know anything about selling a painting, and I don't want to sell them. They're like mine. They're gonna be in my walls. And said, "No, I will introduce you to some art galleries." And these galleries came over, saw the paintings, and I did the first show in November 1991 in a gallery in Geneva. So that's how it started. But I wasn't sure that I was going to do this for life.
Huh. Now, it was said that you actually first started out in a small fashion business. Is that true?
That was just before paintings, right? That means I create a design for a clothes design that I was making in California, and I think people knew me through the clothing design before painting. But that means if you're clothing designer, that means you are drawing every day, and then there was not a big gap between drawing clothing on someone and doing a paintings. So yes, that's correct. I was a designer first.
Well, now after that, what was your next defining moment for you after you were first discovered as an artist? You know, and then what happens next in the 90s onwards? Did you manage to market your art worldwide?
After the 90s, when I did the first show, suddenly quite a few galleries who came to me from Switzerland, and a very famous gallery at the time who was presenting like Jean Tinguely with fantastic artist who died a few years ago, but and he asked me to make a first show with him in Bern, and I accepted straight away. So it's a nice challenge, and also because I was really ready to go on and make more and more paintings, and so the evolution of my work in 2-3 years was quite fast. And I did about 4 exhibitions with this gallerist in 1996, and thanks to him, I got enough advertisement around to get more gallerists.
And so, what was your strategy at that time in terms of marketing? Did you actually plan it, or was it a team effort with your friends, or was it the investors that helped you to springboard your career?
Good question. Well, to be an artist is like luxury in life. So of course you need always to have money to buy canvas, studio, and all kind of material. So I've got a few people around me as a professional gallerist to provide me what I needed at the time. Yes.
So what was your strategy then?
I had not a real strategy in the 90s. I just wanted to paint. So it means for 1991 till 2005, I was painting non-stop. And the strategy was just having at least a minimum of 2 galleries, and spending my time in the studio and just producing more painting as I could, you know. So that was no marketing at the time.
And how does it differ from the 90s and today?
Well, there's a big step up again, because I think about now it's about 23 years of painting, and you need to expand to show your work in many countries. That's why I'm in Singapore, and so that means you need more production. At the time, my production was quite low, about 50 paintings a year, for about 15 years. It's quite a lot already, but I work very slowly, very carefully, and then one day I said, I can't anymore do only 50 paintings a year, because it's going to provide 2 or 3 galleries, no more, and I want to have more galleries around, so like in different countries in Europe first, without thinking about Asia or America. So I had to find a way, and that way was to do also screen print, prints on paper, numbered of course, And so I started to work a lot with screen print during about 10 years. Screen print on paper, as I said, on aluminium, means debond, and also on canvas. So it helped me a lot to have a panel of different kind of work as original paintings, and I would say multiples.
Amazing. And what advice would you give for aspiring artists right now today? Because you have done so much for the last 2 decades, and they would like to know what will be the 3 key lessons that you have learned in life, that help you build your career.
Well, I would say against all the negative thought I had around me when I started. I started late. I was about 30 years old, but I've been drawing, as I said before, also clothing. So when you go from quantities to unity, means quantities of design of clothing to unity as original paintings, and you change completely your life. Your life's getting, you're getting like in a box. You're not anymore with the world. You need to be in a white box and to paint. Then I had sorry, I forgot a question.